Good? Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
The standards existing social domination that things do not suffer from the view of press are problematic because although our perspective is used, social violence comes before other modes because the disturbance of morality of the press actors is relevant, ensuring everyone to see at the tables, repercussion and starting discussion when related. Social violence is invisible in order to have the to distribution and when it's used in ordinary. Social violence is dangerous because it leads to direct violence. Violence to the press or resort to violence to service and incomplete ethnic access or collective process leaders care about people who good judgment, really care about those outside will, is solution to the product of normative concepts. Independently, intuition should be checked on ethical theories. Something coherent is most of the since all deductive justifications of often serve base premises that we must accept because they're true, regardless of any ethic. For example, that killing babies is wrong. We need intuition to coherence to determine what degree we can accept these assertions. And trust your basic intuition that impression is bad, and assumption otherwise makes debate unsafe. Simply we rely on assumptions that can justify problematic things, justify inadequate ethical theories, and independently bad because those can justify absurd claims like racism being good and ideal theory, or ethical theories that gloss over issues of social domination that reapplies suppressed power structures to use ethical theorizing mills. What distinguishes ideal theories are reliant on the exclusion. The actual ideal theory represents actual as a simple deviation from the theorizing in its own. An idealist ontology was acted away from the relations, social domination, exploitation, coercion, and oppression, which in reality will profoundly shape the ontology of those individuals. Little will be said on historical oppression and its legacy in the present, though in systemic oppression likely to shift the basic social institution. Now, social determinism sphere will be given little attention to the role of hegemonic ideology, groups of experience, and distorting our perception of the social order. Plain text resolve, adolescents ought to have the right to make autonomous medical choice of whether to go under female gender coding, but duty upon all defend the right generally, but not defend a policy where all countries would give the human right to autonomous medical choice of whether to go female gender coding, supported with the UNFPA, UNICEF's approach to female gender coding. UNFPA is the solvency advocate and provides inherency. UNFPA and UNICEF lead the largest global regulators abandonment of FGC. The organization FGC on the Human Rights Network abandonment of FGC continues. UNFPA urges a human rights perspective on female gender coding. It's time to it's a choice of full abandonment of the practice by emphasizing the human rights factor of the issue. FGC represents society's structural advantage over women, causing gender inequality and oppression and heretics. FGC is a manifestation of gender equality. FGC represents society's control over women. Such practices perpetuate gender roles that are unequal and harm women. Any reported from the north faces condemnation, harassment, and ostracism goes beyond the procedure as a result of social pressure because of fear, misstigmatization, rejected by the community. Women are structured from the moment that they're born. So my often spiritual framing outweighs this is root cause of oppression for women in Africa because they're forced against situations against their will. In case outweighs the use of FGC is only increasing. The plan is tried that we need to stop this vicious epidemic that fuels a male-dominant society monogamous. Societies are more inclined towards patriarchy and usually lacking in women's rights. African and Asian countries in the heart of the Middle East have a higher instance of FGC. If indicating what is considered acceptable female control over every aspect of women is accepted. The WHO estimates that 100 to 140 million girls have been the impact of FGC, have been the victim of FGC. FGC horribly marginalized and dehumanized it affects women. Turns to critique Kimagosa. FGC carries out on women can be viewed as control bodies as types analysis can be applied to disabled women. Understanding mutilation of bodies for societies with those lens that perfect bodies are often subject to dehumanizing. The body is a passive entity upon which power stamps its own images can undermine challenging oppressive practice. And now a rights framework is key to solving FGC. First, using a rights as medium for FGC's actual legal implementation across multiple different countries. Shell Duncan. In the past, FGC has been integrated in human rights. The language of human rights has been codified in the Constitution because of the concept of discourse and trying to law. This word militia is viewed to justify state action to protect rights. This encourages the proliferation of national laws banning FGC. 2. A rights framework is key to understanding future declarations for FGC protection measures. Shell Duncan 2. Raising a voice about the unwelcome consequences of the human rights framework is not to quell the movement. It is intended to raise awareness of the problem to navigate these issues in a pragmatic function. We urgently need to prepare our understanding how state action and legal structure interact and play to means to recognize understanding for most solutions for FGC. Under review. The role of the ballast vote for the better behaviors both post-fiat policy best addresses female gender coding. After the de-shaming of FGC, that's key to stopping sexual violence. The one issue should preclude fairness arguments small. Starting an open discussion about FGC, we can create an environment in which people are comfortable talking about sexual violence. FGC is shrouded in secrecy. Everyone plays a role upholding the practice. Women are often stigmatized and after that, that's what's absolutely vital that women are empowered and often dominated to talk about FGC that drives the practice underground. Always fairness. Sexual violence permeates all of society. Fairness only matters in rest. So discussing sexual violence should outweigh the small magnitude of fairness violation and fairness and evaluating the rights in certain ways is based on what would make the world a better place. So others access and outweighs any more for fairness. And fairness is an aggregated concept. Some things are clearly more fair than others, but sexual violence is way more unfair than inherent effects. It's out of control, life affecting, and has horrible lasting impact that affect other things. And the judge has an obligation to reject this fairness. You don't need fairness to value this. It concerns judges' comparative views towards theory at all. Voting on an impact like fairness ignores sexual violence and should not be allowed. This court is specific to academic obligation. In terms of fairness, is key to equal access arguments, and we can have a fair space at all. You can poklo. Spaces of knowledge production are being constructed to practice, which includes sexual harassment. Students are expected to take knowledge. Excessive knowledge implies freedom of movement within the community. Construction of intellectual spaces therefore includes practices that interfere with these goals. Academics must act responsibly to produce knowledge. Unethical conduct can hinder their teachers from performing their duty through sexual violence. And forcing discussion, FGC is key to understanding the rights component of the topic. Small 2. FGC is one of the most important human rights issues because it goes in hand with gender equality issues. Honor, silence, and girls' education. Talking about FGC opens up doors to wider discussion and catalysts which the rights of girls are more important than feeling comfortable as human rights advocates. FGC is everybody's business. Outweighs creative skill. Point being that FGC is a catalyst for solving other forms of oppression means that one sees a prior question to other pick because it serves as solvency for them. Now, next interview. First, on T, we're dropping the argument and re-eval my offense under the text resolution. 8 is the Africa's blind and the brown one neck is reactive and ability to read T on the bidirectional team wild. Always on fairness because the neck is a structural advantage over the F on theory. B1 ensures that the neck only reads T when there's real abuse rather than no issue. The second, on neck team theory, user reasonability with red line and real structural abuse. 8 is that there are multiple legitimate interpretations of topic. I take a stance in the one C on bidirectional issues reasonably solved because it limits the neck from reading the other side of bidirectional T. B is that any other form of abuse is subjectively good about I. Some people think that plans are good about however structural abuse creates a tangible skew. C is that substantive abuse are resolvable due to things like outside things like factors like coaching and more practice, etc. Third, name was explicitly pros all work for team theory interpretation of apathy as well as meta theory concerns, and give me the chance to comply to prevent no space based on ambiguity and allow the after rectify possible use failure. Fourth, advocates RV is 8 points. The advocates RV is an I mix counter because no risk theory would give it a negative fear source of self into lots of new the ACB point if they challenge my interpretation called a voting is totally illogical that I prove their interpretation is wrong, allowed to be a voting issue for me. C point is under competing interpretation. The better known is the one that if they win their kind of interpretation better that is voted for me. And the neg must link all of its back through the standard through a counter policy. Policy making is inevitable, so we need to engage in perfective movement. This also means no way to discourse Makani. Organizing what is real people do. Policy specifies institutions and address problems. Policies are codification of power rules of when changing the world means we need to start with initiatives that leverage power. So the meaning is worth having a policy. Leveraging power into policies and that makes it different. The policy work is integral to transfer information experience to affect the public. I'm going to pull up some more cards because I have time. Ideal theory is bad. First, subtracting from the world makes its attachment from the real world, denying any possible to understand ethics mills. Ethics is with the ideal. Ethics want to make work means not supposed to I can because the ideal is to be achievable by humans. If not, then nobody will be willing to attach from the same. Nor can anyone say ideal theory is a good way to prove ethics. The argument cannot be the fact factual definitional truth or factual confidential. Second, ideal theory ignores the position of history, the agent that applies to apply. Not the theory perhaps based off the pressure mills too. Reality is to be visible from the subordinate and the privilege. Innovation to map on ideal theory from the dominant groups. Ideal theory recognizes enormous consequence of pressure. No theories are required about group based as with a block, particular group, and all needed to recognize that people will be affected by social location. Therefore, you firm. If you want me to flash you those two cards, I can.
No, that's fine. They were just about ideal theory, right?
Yeah.
So what are all the arguments about how structural violence comes before fairness?
So those are the arguments after the rule of the ballot. It's not that structural violence comes first, it's my framing on the rule of the ballot. So the first one argument is the framing argument, the small argument that talking about FGC is necessary to stop to spur a discussion about sexual violence, which in academia has not been talked about specifically. Like my argument from small is that talking about FGC has been run underground because of secrecy, and discussing the issue is necessarily important because otherwise it would let the continuation of it to continue. And all the arguments from the case are reasons why that's bad. Now the argument for why I always fairness. The first argument is that it pervades all of society. Fairness only matters in round. My argument is that the out of round impact is more important because fairness is a way how we make the world a better place. But the question is whether we should talk about the out of round impacts of fairness or the in round impacts of fairness or the out of round impacts of talking about FGC. My argument is that the argument of FGC outweighs your argument because it affects like us in the real world, which the fairness arguments would argue suppose. The second argument is that fairness is an aggregative concept because, for example, that one thing is more unfair than the other. My argument is that FGC is obviously more unfair than some theory violation in round because it causes all these negative bad consequences, which means that it should outweigh because it has its lasting impacts in the real world. The third argument is that the judge has an obligation to reject this unfairness because of the Yucapoko argument.
Okay. So you say that I have to check my trips in CMs, right?
Yep.
Okay. Do you specify which states you will implement the policy within?
It's worldwide.
It's worldwide.
Or where it hasn't been banned already, technically.
So do you defend it in general, FGC in general?
What do you mean? Like general is kind of vague. Like what does that mean?
So do you defend it FGC in general, or do you defend it in the medical system?
I'm confused what the question is. Like can you further clarify?
So I'm asking whether the AF defends the resolution in the case of FGC and.
I defend the plain text.
Do you defend the plain text?
Like, is there something you want me to defend?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Are the arguments in the role? Are there any pre-fiat arguments in the AC?
I'd say the role of the ballot makes a pre-fiat claim that the judge should care about stopping FGC before anything else.
Okay.
But there's no like discursive impact of the UNFC.
Right. Okay, cool. I have 24 seconds left. I'll put everything down. Stuff might be out of order and it's probably a little bit weird, but
there's nothing on here.
There's. You want me to do it again?
Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay. That's why you flash drive, trying to get you on a flash. Just doing any prep time, right?
Wanted to.
No, I'm just gonna say just please flash.
So it's going to be MC re-off, just add to the app.
You said NC 4 off AC?
Re-off AC. Yeah.
Just read the disadd on the app.
Yeah, disadd on the app. Is everyone good? Alright, I'm good.
Good.
Any gaming means not to lose like the A reason make reason against no positive connotation prefer subject reasons over theoretical ones means the base entirely better being B permissible use reason not complicated sufficient meaning have the reason rounding system in the first place is a regular action toward others many more close our motivation than there's no reason to act to do what's right and the code merely face to escape this skeptical conclusion. Additionally, agents can only be motivated by their own design not the external size of another agent because no agent can be motivated by the size of another and motivated show externalism collapse and internalism since we only care about reasons once we read internalize them and I know that studying one of my grades but I don't care. I will in fact my behavior only contracted system mutual percent provides motivation. Next, this means we use the contracted system mutual percent go to it. Motivators are introduced into the objects of agreement such as agreement such agreement is hypothetical but the parties are able to determine individuals distinguish what the capacity situation they agree to constrain their choices to acknowledge the distinction between what they may and may not do and further prefer one Consent literally determines what's right and wrong. For example, whether euthanasia is murder. 2. If people don't want to be moral and under any ethical system, they can simply reject morality, and there's no reason to it's binding. Next, mutual traits of self-interest can occur if one party can be easily coerced. This means that parties cannot check each other through the threat of not upholding their side of the bargain. So a badly intentioned person has the reason to violate. And first, children are dependent on parents' economic and social requirements, including committing education on the fact that an adult can easily coerce them into making decisions they do not truly wish to do, which means that this would not be consistent with the contractarian system of mutual restraint. Second, adolescents are dependent on the medical system, hospitals, and the doctors providing which they need to live on and survive, but they don't have similar resources to offer the medical systems. Next, first off. The interpretation medical is defined as offer relating to the treatment of disease. Medical also means that treating disease, but Merriam-Webster writes, a substance that is used as treating disease is relieving pain, and that is usually in the form of a pill or liquid, or the science that deals with preventing, curing, and treating diseases. And FGM violation. FGM is a type of surgery, so it's not medical. FGM is not a treatment for disease. World Health Organization writes. Female genital mutilation includes procedures that are intentionally alter or cause injury to the female genital organs for non-medical reasons. One is common use. This is literally the first definition of medical that you see pop on the topic. Most includes this was linked to the arguments about oppression as also this turns the PFR arguments in absence as a prerequisite critical engagement to common usage is key to fairness. We need a definition as a starting point for both debaters and to clash. A general subject is enough debate requires a specific starting point, Steinberg and Friel. It must be important point this debate to 2 plus 2 equals 4 controversy. Controversy invites a set of choice between competing positions. By definition, debate requires reasoned judgments on the proposition. The proposition is a statement about what competing advocates will offer a term argumentation, calling upon their audience to adjudicate or decide. The proposition you focus on provides for discourse and guide the decision process, even when the decision will be made through a compromise. Cut the card there. And these better fairness, better participating in competitive activities, times to the better rating not better shape 1, drop the better 1, separate knowing that activity 2, compensate for the positive time trade up the negatives on responding to theory 3, to deter future abuse. This also responds to the argument that you read why you drop the argument TBC said that you drop the argument T1 because there's multiple reasonable affidavits 1. This is not true. I said that my interpret's the best interpretation. We should that this argument is non-responsive 2. If you're not topical, there's no reason why we should drop the argument. You should drop the debater if you're not reading a topical ad. And then next, and T is the reason to drop the debater. Then on the CX checks argument, I'm not reading this as a shell. 1, you can turn the argument. Every argument is conditional because they can just kick it or change it as soon as ask and see it. They can just load their cases up with millions of abusive arguments. 2, it's stressful to use CX such as that to waste my time clarifying every interpret in the afternoon. I can't use CX to access the substance of the debate or check back unclear arguments, which is going to be linked to fairness. So I preclude the arguments. Then on the next show. A is the interpretation of a debater reads a personal story, narrative, poem, or song or advocacy that discusses violent or emotionally sensitive topics, and the debater must read trigger warnings before or beginning their speech. Emotionally sensitive topics include violent, racist, and misogyny content as well as the existence understood through the Lawrence Peace. Violation of the parties does not read trigger warnings. See stage 117 in the debates in order. Promote safety within the debate community. Trigger warnings must be placed before reading a narrative, story, poem, or song which may invoke painful memories. And this should be not to devalue the narrative of the person, but to also strengthen it so that all members of the community can feel safe. Shamali. Trigger warnings should be used in advance of discussions, violent or racist, misogyny content. The advocacy of warnings regarding policy, disturbing re-traumatizing content triggers images, sound, smells, and yes, text that provoke specific emotional, physical responses in people. We are not about squirming. Therefore, our entertainment discourse first must be related back to trigger warnings and the warnings about how we have to increase inclusivity, and you can classify the voter. This also a reason to drop him as well. And then on the next off. As the interpreter, the role about is to evaluate the truth of desirability of the resolution by comparing only posts we have physical about the habits not claim that they're role about or advance any prefabricated warrants for their arguments other than theory. B is violation E does. C standards 1, predictable limits. Any other interpreter allows for an infinite number of performative pedagogy between two competing extremes that are an infinite number of framing slots. Political increases continuing at one end and ideal form at the other end, a perfect dystopia between the two, and infinite set, for example, as defined by quality and equality defined by liberty. Any person can generate a vision of the ideal. The role about can range from rejecting reason to who's better at Mario Kart, meaning that there's no way I can predict the argument. This also linked to the arguments in the app, and then skip the decision making argument. And you can classify the better. You also voting on fairness is the only way to ensure the debate is a functional space for discourse. Means that his arguments about why we can't evaluate fairness first, and how we have to talk about structural violence don't make any sense because we need to first talk about fairness in context of the because if the app wasn't fair in the first place, that means that we can't evaluate the app on substance. And no one knows who's the head of the PPRD effective way because unfairness already see the evaluation of fairness is key to effective dialogue. Galloway. Debate is a dialogue that affirmative sets aside by debating the topic in fairness requires setting the affirmative reciprocally sets the negative one. Competitive activity denies the person or the other participant are funded by no condition of dialogue far from request for fairness is demand for respect to be heard. And then on the disad, yeah. Comprehensive ideal theories are key to solving the injustice and oppression, also responds to the ideal arguments implicitly. 1. The absence of comprehensive normative framework means that it cannot guide actions shall be. It is not clear how we are developing a complete ideal theory to respond to social justice without figuring what makes the social scheme when dealing with the gross judgment. We mean justice as social is simply unjust by observing, but in the absence of more systematic pressure that enables us to identify injustice making features of social system, cut the card there. And 2. Ideal theories key to long-term change for movements. 3 reasons. Lawrence. The purpose of explanation of comparison of injustice and political action, we can read ad hoc arguments about what response to call injustice by specifying the long march goals of political action theory. Ideal theory allows us to achieve systematic ambitious character. And first, it reminds us that there is a range of injustice, many of them interrelated, all which must completely be addressed. And implications: A, cut the card there. A, solve the out of their band-aid. They don't solve for the problem strong long-term. B, turns case the key to addressing intersectionality.
Okay. Ready? Or
Yeah.
First, can you just take out or actually
Yeah.
fine, I don't want to waste time. Let's
Okay.
just start from. Okay, so let's go through the shells. Or, sorry, on that seat, can I turn it?
Yeah, sure.
How do I turn it?
So you show that the AF is more consistent with the system of mutual restraint. So
That's sufficient to affirm?
yeah.
Okay, great. So let's go on the first interpretation. Your argument is the medical definition says of relating to the treatment of disease and injuries. Neither of these definitions say that surgery is not topical, but then your violation is that FGM is surgery, so it's not medical. Where do you find that it's not
So I'm saying that the argument is that your
Read me from the line of the definitions you read where it says surgical is not topical.
so the argument is extrapolated from the interpretation that
Read me from the
Okay.
line from your definition where it says it's not surgery is not topical. Your argument says of relating the treatment of disease and injury.
It
I think
says that-
FGM is an injury.
okay. So the argument was the second argument. It said that medicine is a substance that is used in treating disease or relevant pain, and that is usually in the form of a pill or liquid, meaning that your argument would violate because
Wait, so I can only defend a pill or liquid?
the science that deals with preventing, curing, and treating diseases. Yeah.
So only
No,
I can
it's-
only defend
no,
after defend
medical-
that solves
so-
disease.
So I read medical as a reason for treatment or diseases and injuries.
Wait, so I can only defend it. What does that mean? Like, what
Alright.
app is topical under your interpretation?
If you just defended a treatment of disease or injury.
So I can only defend an app that solves disease. That's the only app someone can
no,
read.
you can also do for injuries too.
Okay, injuries, great. Fine, let's go through your arguments. So, you say, what were the arguments for drop the debater?
1, drop the debater. 1, to set deadlines for the activity. 2, to compensate for the positive time trade-off, negatives on responding to theory. 3, to set to deter future abuse.
Okay. And then, what were the did you read competing interps?
I don't remember honestly.
Okay, I'm assuming you didn't, because it's
Okay,
not in the
cool.
speech doc. So, let's go to the second interpretation. Why do I violate? I don't read a narrative, personal story, poem, song, or advocacy that talks
No,
about
the argument was that. So the argument would be that you still violate because you talk about some sort of oppression in the AC.
Wait, talking about oppression is a trigger warning.
No, the way that you phrase the AC.
Your violation was I did not read trigger warnings. Your interpretation says a personal story, narrative, poem, or song. Where do I do any of these?
It also mentions advocacy.
So wait, okay, what could I have done to not violate
You
this?
should have read a trigger warning before you.
No,
read the
like
AC.
what on my advocacy would I had to change to like not make it a trigger warning issue?
So I'm saying that you would have to specify in the one. You would have to specify before you read the.
No,
one.
I'm saying what a part of the 1AC requires a trigger warning. That is my question. Like what part of the app requires that I need to say there's a trigger warning necessary?
It's not like requiring in the part of
Okay,
the app.
never
It's
mind.
saying that
Let's
before
go.
you read your case,
That's
you have
fine. Okay. What is the impact of the ideal theory good arguments? Is that just like access to the NC?
The arguments would also mean that the only way to solve oppression is through a normative framework.
Okay, great. Starting from now. Do I get an RBI?
I don't specify.
Okay, great. What comes first, T or the theory arguments?
I don't take a stance on
I'd
that.
like you to take a stance.
I would say that actually, I'm not going to take a stance on it
I agree. Three.
Are you reading anything new?
Yeah, I'm gonna flash it.
Very cool.
I probably won't read all this, I'll probably do it. So. Okay, the order's gonna be, I'm saving it right now, but the order's gonna be AC starting on the roll the ballot down, then the roll the ballot down, then the first shell, the T shell, then the trigger warning shell, roll, and then the true testing arguments, and then probably the MC.
Oh wait. So wait, Neil, what's the order again?
So roll ballot, top down to the theory spikes, then or start with an overview but flow it on the roll the ballot. Then the first shell, the T shell, then trigger warning shell, and then the roll the ballot shell, and then like MC and yeah, that's it. Okay, everybody good? Everybody good? Overview on the subsidy, he succeeded in the player takes and all the advantages. That means if I win the roll about, that's game over. Extend the roll about, so over the better being supposed to best by jersey female cutting. Send the athletes a deem shaming about everything that's getting stopping sexual on the what do you see should preclude fairness. You can see the entirety of all the reasons why I was fairness. The only argument you make is the Galloway evidence, but insofar as I'm winning comparative analysis, that is game over issue. Then it's in the Yucca guard. The judge has an obligation to reject this of fairness. You don't need a fairness about this because it's a question of whether you need to stop sexual violence. This is always your fairness argument because it's a question of whether this fairness argument actually good knowledge in the first place. The question of the Yucca evidence is that academia right now is restricted because it allows for sexual violence pervades all of it, which means that conceptions of fairness are bad because it does not allow sexual violence pervades and it doesn't allow it to exist. And I the argument, the first argument that always fairness because sexual violence pervades all society. Fairness only matters around. So discussing sexual violence should outweigh that means that outrun impact. That's the first argument underneath the small evidence, which means that it should necessarily outweigh 100% conceded. Means that if I refute any link on the Galloway argument, that is a sufficient reason because I have 100% to make the blank means game over there. Now go on the other view. You can see that the negative theory use reasonability of the breadth line of internet social abuse is the A point that their multiple legitimate interpretation topic. I just take the same time see on the lateral actually reasonably self because the limits not community. It's not the B point any form of subjective abuse is subjectively good, but some people think that points bad. The only argument you respond to the A point, but you can see the B and C point means a game over. None of your offense linked to structural abuse. Not some of the basketball means none of your offense matter. He did not read competing interpretations. He needs to legitimate reasonability paradigm. And some reason not to do that doesn't mean there's a vision. And don't limit new links in the next piece. And it's simply it creates a social skew. It creates a strategy skew because I don't have the ability to then he makes new arguments and I don't have the ability to respond to them in the 2AR. Now let's go into line by line shells. On medical team. AC counterinterpretation that's why surgery. If the A phenogenic hunting is an axis B, disclosed to my next before the branding C of a solid scam to the plan, and D would offend to the least disadvantage. E point interpretation. A point is that talking about FGC to topic literature. That is a small 2 evidence. B point is the plan was so you have the ability preference once even the plan was slightly. I don't know the literature sequence I'll see advocate. That's a UNP card that this people that is one advocate play there's space of literature, but D point if the F was in topic, I would have found a reasonable link to the CA, so you should go to the rent. Also the session of the CA, the small 2 evidence is damning because I control the internal link to the core of the topic literature. I say that they don't understand the core of the topic literature, which is the rights component. We need to understand FGC because it's a prior question because it is necessary to frame of human rights, which means that all your arguments. Now on the line by line, you can see that I get an RBI, which means that my counter interpretation has a net benefit. That is the reason why I should outweigh. And on the framing arguments, if I win a counter interpretation to one show, that should outweigh the rest of the beast on